Can you ask me this question again?
Well, when you sort of non-duality and the being of emptiness, how do they sort of fit together?
Do you think they appear different in any sense? I think they are the same. If you see, I don't think there's any contradiction between emptiness and non duality.
Uh,
Because what is emptiness? Emptiness is just feeling of emptiness is non-duality. No, what is non-duality? Non-duality means when you are not working from the ego mind complex. Though you will have a mind, you will have a body, but you have understood a higher authority in us, whom you surrender this ego. So this higher authority is that Atman or Brahman or pure awareness or self, none other than you. But because of our ignorance, because we feel that we can do it and I am doing it, and this doership takes us into a different mode, which is, we call that ego mode, which owns this body, which has plans, which has agenda, which has friends, which has enemies, which lives this life in this body and thinks that he is this body and he has control on things. One day, in a satsang, or spontaneously, or reading a scripture, or listening to a story, something happens to this ego. It deflates. It deflates because it somehow intuitively it understands there is something higher than this, something more purer than this, something where there is no suffering. It could be like maybe for fraction of a second, and so I call it grace. Why it happens in someone and not in others? There are billions of people living on this earth. But yes, it happens in someone that they have this curiosity to go beyond this suffering. And when they look or they experience or whatever happens, they understand somehow that there is higher authority. Look, for most of the people in this world, this higher authority, they call it God, and they leave it in one corner and they keep doing what they have to do. And that's why they never taste that freedom. Because intellectually you can understand there is a higher authority. You call him God. You pray him on a Tuesday or a Sunday or a Friday, doesn't matter. And you leave him in a corner. And then you continue on your path of self-destruction and destruction of the society with this ego, which you think is doing all the right stuff. I'll give you a very simple example. There was a conflict between a husband and wife, and then I said, you guys should discuss and then try to sort things out. And husband has issues that what his wife is doing is all the wrong decisions. I said, that is what you think. You should understand what she thinks. And he went to her and asked her politely that all these things what she's doing doesn't look right. And she said, they are perfectly right. I use my brain, I'm very intelligent, and I know what I'm doing. And then he came to me, he said, yes, you are right. She thinks she's doing all the right things. I said, yes, that's the problem with ego. Ego is always right. Ego does not know anything else except that I am right and others are wrong. And that is the evil in all of us. And till that is there, you can't taste that God within. Two cannot be together. Understand that God unfolds in us when this ego dies. And death of the ego is recognition by this ego only that there is some higher authority to whom I have to surrender. Surrender means giving away all the attributes of ego right now, or maybe slowly, whatever way works for a person. And the best way, what I think, is to watch this ego, how it works, what are its attributes, how it changes forms, how it shows pity on this body and tries to exploit other bodies. Look into its functioning. Your power of observation will dissolve this ego. This power of observation is so strong. Morning you wake up, how you interact with people, not just interaction with people, even how a thought comes to you and what that thought comprises of makes you very clear whether you are still in ego mode or are you in presence mode. It is so beautiful, and more you stay as presence, as a witness to things unfolding in your life, this ego will slowly and slowly melt away and will disappear, and nothing will be left except this pure presence. Words cannot convey it. You can call it non-duality. Doesn't Duality and non-duality is just a concept. It is not of much use for you. Practice is more important. So rather than us getting into trap of terms, I think practice is more important. So to start with, it looks like there are two people in this body. One some higher authority, one is ego. And this ego is trying to reach higher authority, which we call self. And then we say non-duality. Actually, there is no, when we say non-duality, actually we are giving power to duality only. Why we should say non-duality? Just say one. Just say one. It is only one. It is only one. The duality which appears to be there is fake, is unreal. It's an illusion. But that illusion creates all the suffering. This doership is there, we do things and we suffer. The moment you have this ego and you are separate from others and you behave as an individual, your suffering starts. One wrong notion that I am this body mind and suffering starts. The moment by that grace, who knows how it happens in someone, he starts on this inner journey, looks within and finds this beautiful jewel in us, which is only pure presence, which is witnessing to what is happening and is uninvolved. There's always bliss here. It is full of peace. So it appears that this ego is starting an inner journey and then it finds this jewel. The moment it finds it, it disappears. Because this ego was only a reflection through the mind, through the concepts. And we call it non-duality. You call it anything, you don't call it anything, doesn't matter. Reality stays reality. This pure self is always with us. We are that. Not even for a fraction of a second. Even if you live in hell or heaven or on earth, it never leaves us. But we as rebellious ego tries to act as separate from it. Only act, only think. It's just a wrong concept. And this can continue. This can continue for births after births, in different bodies, different forms, till one day you sit and you look within, and this myth is busted and you are free. I'll tell you, it is very hard for people to understand that this mind, which is giving rise to thoughts, on thoughts which you are acting, is the only cause of suffering. But people don't understand this. Because of this bad old habit, they continue on it. They are having breakfast and now they are thinking about lunch. And look, these matters looks trivial, that okay, how does it matter if I'm just keep thinking about things? How does it matter? Why can't I be just happy in pure awareness? Because you're always in this doer mode. You think you are doing things while things are happening on their own, in their own way. You can't say right or wrong, it's just happening. A person fixated in mind finds very difficult to understand it. So the best course of action is to just watch. Use your power of observation, your attention. There are only two ways for freedom, which are direct, I believe. One is to stay as what you are. You are pure self. Stay as pure self. What pure self does? Nothing. What it comments on? Nothing. What it likes or dislikes? Nothing. It is just pure awareness. Nameless, formless. It has no body. It gives energy to the body, but it has no body. It has no mouth. It has no speech. In spite of having nothing, it is bliss. And it is always there. And people cannot recognize with that, because once you have been given a costume, you don't know what I would be without this costume. And you have this fear of losing identity. You don't want to lose identity, and now you want to be free. You cannot be free with an identity. Never ever. No one was ever able to do it. At least you have to give up this identity to be free. It is like you were part of a play. You were given a costume to wear. Now you know that it is a play is over. But you're not giving up the costume. You're holding on tight. You think, if I will give up this costume, then what will be my identity? Because in this play, everyone's name is same. In this play, without the costume, you become nothing. You become empty. The moment you wear costume, a shape comes to you. And the moment you give up this costume, there's nothing left. It's emptiness. Awareness is nothing. and you are so fearful of losing identity. Though this identity is giving all the suffering, and I'm telling you, please leave this costume. But you have no courage to leave it. You're holding it more tightly. So if we hold this costume tightly, how can you be free? This jump into emptiness, you have to be naked. You have to give up this costume. You don't have to kill this body. You just have to transcend out of this body. Not out of this body. It's not like some mystical experience will happen. Nothing will happen. You stay as what you are, as awareness, and see how beautifully it unfolds. Only thing which matters is your interest in it, your honesty about it, perseverance. Sometimes you might come across a person who has not given much effort. They are rare exceptions, but they are also not exceptions. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi told umpteen number of times that it looks like I got it in a flip of a second. But my practice was there in previous births. Buddha left home, and I think you must have heard his story, how long it took him with all his efforts. It takes efforts. It takes courage. Freedom is not a cakewalk. Everything is on stake. It's not a lukewarm approach. Don't think that in morning we will sit for 1 hour and one day you will be enlightened. If you put all your energy, all your efforts, all the time, to stay as pure self and never ever acts from the ego mode or from the lower level of functioning, you will be free in no time. But that effort, that has to come from within. Once you have tasted, once you have understood, then you have to put efforts. No one else can put efforts for you. Whenever you dislike someone, whenever you get irritated, whenever you get attracted, know that you are in a trap. Still you are in ego trap. This whole system is so clear that you cannot deceive yourself. You will know the day you will be free. You don't have to go to a master or to an authority to stamp that you are free, you are enlightened. Remember, all thoughts which are coming to you all the time are for this ego, for the doer who acts, who plans, who has agenda, who has motive. who has desires, who has strong likes and dislikes, who has friends, who has enemies. Not for pure awareness, not for true self, not for Atman, that pure Brahman. It is always uninvolved and is only watching the show. Its involvement is that it is the source, it is the root, it is the energy supply to the whole illusion, but it is never involved. This ego on which this play of sansar or this word is going on is dependent on this self only, getting energy from there only. And the play is also unfolding from there only. But what a pity, as a small individual on this infinite world, we take control. How shameful act it is. That absolute which is doing this whole show, not giving any credit to him, not even recognizing him, we start our own small government in the bigger government. And then we suffer. And he allows us to do it. He allows us to do it the way we want it. But then the consequences of our own doing, who will bear it? This body and the mind. And they both are only gadgets. They are not you. But you think it is you. Understand the trap. Surrender is not to anyone else. Surrender is to your own true self. You are not losing anything. You are only gaining. You give up this small person and you become infinite. Even if you are a business-minded person, it is a very good transaction. You are giving up this body, which I don't know how old it is. It is going to die soon. You are just giving up ownership only. Body will still stay. You can't even lose this ownership. Then how can you transcend? And you are also not giving ownership of this mind, which is popping up all these thoughts. Then how can you be free? There is no magic wand and there is no grace which can work without your efforts. If you call this pure self as God, it's up to you. You can call it pure awareness, doesn't matter. It knows you more than what you know yourself. If you use religious texts which talk about kingdom of God or whatever, your entry is there only when you are egoless. When you have given up control of your life, given all the reins to that Supreme, when you have surrendered your doership completely, the moment it happens, you are free. And that moment, you know that you are that pure awareness. You are that self. All the conflict, all the issues are not external to us. It is all internal. Don't blame anyone else for your bondage, your situation, your parents, your friends, your spouse. No one. Even when you stay as pure self, when you realize your true self, body will continue to do what it has to do for what it has come. As it is already predestined. All agitation, anxiety, restlessness, incessant thoughts, all is happening because we don't give up this doership. In all our role playing, things just happens. You can't blame yourself or others if things goes wrong or credit. It's just a play. If you move backward, let's say you have gone to watch a soccer match, then you are always a witness. You're not playing. Let others play. Let's say it's something like a horse racing, and you have a bet on a horse. That horse is running. But a person can be so attached to that horse that his all interest is whether this horse wins or not win. But if you understand that it is just a play, then you will lose all interest in that horse. And this body is like that horse. You are a witness to what this is happening in the body, rather than fighting the whole world for this body, treating others as separate from you. and this body as you. This is the path of resistance when you act as a person, as an individual. Why don't you watch all what is your eyes can see and incorporate everything as one and stay as a witness to what is happening? And this separateness, this detachment can only come when you stay as a witness. When you stay as an uninvolved witness throughout the day, ego will arise. Watch it. Slowly, when the peace will dawn on you, staying as awareness, what ego will do? It will recognize this higher self, will surrender to it, will disappear, will melt away, will know that this is what I was always. There are no two in it. Remember, duality only means ego. This second person, which appears to be true, is fake. When the ego recognizes reality, it disappears. So we call it non-duality. But it was always one. It appeared to be two. Or maybe three for some, or four. Because a lot of people take God as separate, word as separate, themselves as separate, and then there might be so many other concepts. But in reality, there is only one. And this one is absolute. And this one is God. Now, I don't know where you want to put yourself in this whole picture. You want to keep God as separate than you? Then who are you? If there is only one, then who are you? And so understand this intricate, deceptive game of ego. It keeps God as separate and thrives on this concept. And so the most intelligent person on this earth, Buddha, got rid of God only. Because he understood that people with their egoistic mind will keep God on a different pedestal. So their ego survives. Don't make any new concepts of what I am saying. I am not reading from any scripture. And my intention is not to confuse you. But I'll tell you honestly, telling the truth is so difficult because there is no right word, and all understanding seeps into the mind which has to go. And then the problem with language, you have to choose some words, and no word can reach there. But somehow, from somewhere, if you can understand this, and if you can be free, then job is done. How you reached, how it happened, who cares? Allow this body to do what it is doing. Allow things to happen the way they are happening. Understand that there is a power which is looking after everything. And that power has not given you authority to act separately. It is blasphemy, it is sin to act separately. And so that is the cause of suffering. Understand this truth. And just stay as pure awareness, the most restful place where nothing is happening. There is peace, deep peace. No agitations. When you are here, you have no anxiety about the life, how it unfolds. This is complete surrender, where there is no trace of any doership, no ego. Where every moment is bliss, where everything is divine. where everyone is part of us, where there is only love. You are the source. You have to take care of everything. You have to love everyone. It's not a give and take relationship. It is pure giving. And giving to whom? Everything is one. Establish yourself in your pure self, your eternal abode. Go deeper and deeper in your seeing. So much so that if the body goes away or it stays, it doesn't affect you at all. Remember, thoughts comes to the person who has created his own small world. The moment you recognize you are this pure infinite awareness, then all thoughts are yours or you have no thoughts. Individual is already dead. A Jnani always knows that something has died forever. And after death of that something, there is happiness, there is joy, there is freedom. Allow that something to die. Don't show any mercy, no mercy to ego. And then you will have a rebirth. You're born again. Your eternal birth. Abide in your pure silence. You are this pure silence. Always stay as pure presence. No importance to any thought. No thought belongs to you. No thought is for you. Always stay as a non-doer. In total acceptance. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.